Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is there a speaker against name, chapter, pronoun?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Sorry, rewind it back. Rewind it back. No, let me listen again. Please, let me listen again.
This is mad.
Because he started off and said guys.
He said guys. He said his name. He said he him, which is a crazy way to start the sentence in my opinion. And then this guy was upset that he used gendered language.
By saying
guys.
Do you know what? The word guys, I don't see it as you referring to men. Like, I'd always be like, hi guys.
Yeah.
And I'm meaning it to just everyone. Like, I'd go see my group of girlfriends and be like, hi guys.
Yeah, I walked in and your sisters were sitting there. I was like, hey guys.
I don't think they do either, but it's the fact that guys also means guys.
Yeah.
And it's got that double meaning. That's what the issue is. You can use other words that don't have that double meaning that, makes them.
But isn't it gender inclusive then? Isn't that what they want?
No, because it specifically means guys as in men as well as everyone else. What they want is just words that exclusively mean everyone else.
Is there a separate definition for guys on Google?
No, it's there's a synonym. There's synonyms, I guess. It is technically to refer to men. But the fact that we're even discussing this is ridiculous. For someone to shout out in a lecture hall, point of personal privilege, please don't use gendered language. I couldn't even take you seriously. I mean, the first guy I couldn't take seriously anyway. But this guy took it to another level. How have we gotten here where he sounded offended that the guy said guys? How did we get here? Our men went from storming the beaches of Normandy and fighting back super tyrants, essentially, to crying about gendered language in a lecture hall in probably one of the most safe and privileged places in the world. You have to understand the level of stupid that we're witnessing in this clip, and we are only 34 seconds in. This clip is 4 minutes long. I can only imagine the moronic things that are going to come out of people's mouths. I don't even know if I can watch this entire thing.
I think I've seen this video before, ages ago, and I don't think it's a lecture per se, as a meeting specifically for people in that kind of like LGBTQ plus people.
Oh, I don't think it's that. I just think these are a bunch of wet blankets. I haven't seen any LGBT people here yet. I mean, I want to make this clear, because maybe that's a misconception.
Progressives or liberals, rather. I mean, progressives, rather, because even that woman in the clip, she addressed them as comrades.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking,
isn't that like
socialism is like a big thing in the hall right now? So I think it's for the people that are kind of expecting responses and requests and personal privileges like that.
Whenever I hear comrade, I'm like, are we in Russia?
What's Conrad?
We're all in this together, innit?
Yeah, I know, but you hear it a lot.
What is that?
It's like, like we'd be comrades, I guess, like friends, like we're on the same side.
It's what communists used to address each other back in the day in order to kind of have a sense of camaraderie between them.
Have you ever seen it in films where they're like, comrade?
No.
Stranger Things?
I don't watch Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you're not surprised by that either.
Point of privilege once again. Quick point of privilege once again. Hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't gonna get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay? Your need to express yourself is important, but your need to express yourself should not trump or over.
Let me just say, that if you're that sensitive, maybe you should just stay indoors. If you're that sensitive, first of all, you're in what looks like a lecture hall or just a hall, and there's loads of people in there. The idea that people are going to stay quiet just because of your fragile ass is ridiculous.
Yeah, but he might have a disability.
then stay at home.
You can't
People
say
can't
that.
talk. People can't talk in a lecture hall. Look how many people in there. And you're telling people, please be quiet. Are you what planet are you on?
Yeah, but but they're trying to have a lecture. So realistically, people should be quiet and be listening. You can't say to somebody who might have a disability, just stay at home. Like, no, they should be able to involve themselves with these situations.
No, I'm not saying all people with disabilities stay at home. I'm saying that if you're like, for example, if you go to like a theatre production where people are laughing, or if you go to a comedy show, because I've seen it with people that they don't like a lot of heckling in the audience, they're like sensitive to sounds. What are you doing there? You can't avoid that. I don't understand. Am I making sense?
No,
here?
in
Like
those situations, I can understand that because you're going to a place where that is going to happen. But in a place where a lecture's happening, realistically, people shouldn't all be talking.
But realistically,
He's
they
just
will
asking, can you please stop talking so we can get on with this?
No, he's saying, can we please stop talking because it's sensitive to me? And I'm just like, yeah, but like, bro, like you're in a place with loads of people trying to control that. Unless the speaker has explicitly told everyone that everyone needs to be quiet, because that's the job of the speaker. If they need everybody's attention, like if you've got somebody on stage, they'll say, okay, everyone settle down now. I need to talk. That doesn't seem to be what's happening here.
What job role is he doing?
I don't actually know what the hell is going on here. It just seems like a bunch of wet blankets to me. I thought the clip was funny. I only got 30 seconds into it. I don't really understand what's going on. They seem to be trying to come up with something, or like, I don't know. We'll continue watching the clip.
For me, it could be because I'm not engaging, but it also is because everyone's doing this. And that's really important because those loud bursts of noise, even though this is a noisy space, when we can do something like reducing that, that's really important. So please don't clap, shoot up these. We have a lot of disabled comrades, and a lot of those are invisible disabilities. You don't know who it is that is having a more difficult time navigating this space, and this space was not created with all of their needs in mind. So it's up to us to modify that space to make sure that everybody is able to move in the ways that they need to move. And additionally, with the noise issue, like avoid hissing, avoid waving banners, right? Because there's all sorts of things. If you don't know what to do, show up these, right? I'm sure there's lots of ways that we can communicate to each other without needing to rely on something that's going to hurt somebody else. We have quiet rooms that are available. There's a range of options.
See, I don't think that there's an issue with him just trying to get everybody else to be a bit more considerate.
So, let me get this straight. We go out to a place where there's loads of people. Loads of people are trying to communicate. It doesn't seem like everybody has to be dead silent when the guy's on stage. And so we need to be quiet now for what? Because you're
being considerate to people within that space that might have disabilities.
You've got a disability that affects you listening to people, or you're sensitive to loud noises. I don't think being in a lecture hall is the place you should be in.
But I don't get what's the issue with just being considerate?
And I think he's talking about a number of people in that room rather than just himself.
Yeah, it did seem quite like there might be a lot. Do you not think it's a bit ignorant to not be a little bit considerate?
I don't think having a disability should exclude you from spaces.
I don't think it should exclude you from all spaces, but certainly some of them it's going to be a bit more difficult for you to get the result you want.
But is what he's asking for really that unreasonable?
So if he has to keep on asking, maybe it is. I mean, if this is a place where everybody's supposed to be quiet and listen to the speaker on stage, you wouldn't even have to say that. But from what I can hear, people are talking in the background. They're talking amongst themselves. And he's just saying, throw jazz hands up, don't clap, and stop talking.
Yeah, but there's no issue with being considerate in that situation. With the environment they're in, realistically, it is a place where somebody's on stage speaking, everyone else might have an opinion, put your hand up like you do in class and talk. Like there's no I can understand in certain spaces where you're saying you shouldn't have to, but in spaces like this, it's not hard to just be a bit considerate and just go along with it, because then if he has to keep saying it, that shows that people are just being a bit arrogant and not actually just listening and taking it into consideration.
These, right? Please don't go in that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? Because we don't want to put people in stressful situations that they don't consent to, right? And there are right-wing infiltrators who are trying to get in here, but it's going to be really traumatic for people if we're not making an affirmative effort to de-escalate each other and de-escalate ourselves, right? Take a deep breath. And feel better before you say anything. Don't really talk to anybody who doesn't have a credential, especially if they claim to be from the press. You have no idea who that person is. Please do not talk to anybody who identifies themselves as a member of the press without having credentials. Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to MAGA assholes. We're almost there. But thank you. We are going to be visited tomorrow by some MAGA protesters. Is there anybody here who's done abortion clinic escort work? By all means, don't talk to cops if there are cops there for any reason at all, right? And if you do see someone talking to cops, let the marshals know. We are safe and we are strong because there's power in collective work.
Yeah, don't talk to anybody that might challenge your worldview. Stay in line, think the way I think, or a marshal will come over and get you. That looked like a college campus to me. It looked like there was going to be some sort of like debate, and they were basically getting themselves together, getting ready for this. Don't speak to anybody wearing a Make America Great Again hat on because they might be a violent Nazi. Don't speak to cops because cops are all bad. Essentially, just do as I say and think as I do.
He was specific about people that worked at abortion clinics, right? I fully understand that because cops can actually arrest you now in certain states for helping to perform an abortion or whatever. So I get that argument.
Okay.
The argument about not talking to the people that are just saying their press without presenting their credentials, I get that as well. Let's just avoid bad faith actors. The argument about avoid talking to MAGA Republicans, I can see that as well. Again, bad faith actors who are not trying to listen to your argument rather than, just take the piss, basically.
Well, all of them?
Most of them, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think that the shoes it's also the same way?
Of course, yeah. There is on the other side as well, but MAGA will probably say the same thing about these guys.
Yeah, but then they're all idiots. If you're all going somewhere in bad faith.
I'm not saying he's not an idiot. He does sound like an idiot, but I get the points he's making. I get why he's making them.
Do you not think he was saying it all in a way of just trying to protect them?
If they're in a state where they could be arrested because of abortions, I get that. But in terms of not talking to anybody on the opposing side, because he said there might be some right-wing infiltrators here. He said it like they're bloody spies working for like Nazi Germany. Right-wing infiltrators. You mean people on the opposite side of the argument who don't necessarily agree with you? God forbid they share their opinions. You might crumble and turn to dust. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why I want to know what the space actually is. It sounds like they've established a quote-unquote safe space for their people, and they don't want anyone that makes that space unsafe.
Yeah, even that itself, these safe spaces on these university campuses, to me, is a load of nonsense. The world, like, if you create this fake utopia in your university where you don't hear opposing opinions, you're not gonna survive in the real world, because the minute you step out there, someone's gonna say something that doesn't resonate with you, and you've been around these weirdos who can't take other opinions, and you're gonna crumble. You're not going to know how to deal with an opposing view. You're going to hear something and you're suddenly going to see red. You're going to instantly think this person has got some radical view set, because the safe space was actually harmful. You created this bubble that doesn't really reflect reality, and then you went out into the real world where people have more nuanced opinions. You hear these other opinions and you flip because you're not equipped to deal with that sort of thing. University campuses are not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to challenge each other's ideas and find some sort of middle ground, not insulate yourself with your own ideas. And that goes for right or left wing. I tend to see this with leftists.
And that's fine. And I think that does happen in universities, even where there are safe spaces. But I can see where having a safe space in order to communicate with people like you, in order to fully form your ideas before you go out there and get these nuanced arguments against you, could be important as well and could be necessary.
How could you have a fully formed idea when everybody agrees with you?
Fully formed to like be able to share it against the nuanced, and then you're like, okay, cool, let's see what the other side thinks. That
doesn't make sense to me though, because it can't be a fully formed argument.
Okay, I guess fully formed was the wrong word to use. Shape your idea to some degree, with the people that are like you. get their input as well, and then go out and get the arguments against it. I can see that being, if not important, then desired.
Don't you think it would be, I mean, I'm not saying that like they're going to do this, but to me it would be a much better thing to, if you're because America is very like, everything's very polarized right now. So don't you think in the university campuses, don't you think it would be a good idea to have discussions with people that see the world differently from you, so that when you go into the real world where you can actually make real change, you have the ideas from both sides and you have a more fully formed opinion that can actually invoke some real change and change some hearts and minds, rather than getting your insulated opinion that has left out one half of the discussion. I mean, this is the reason why people respect Destiny so much. He's able to have discussions with people from both sides of the aisle and not just insulate his audience in like progressives. Because and the same, by that same token, the people that do that on the right, where they don't listen to the other side and they have these ideas, they completely drown out the other voice and their ideas aren't fully formed either. I think promoting this sort of stuff on university campuses is harming these students and they don't know it. When they go into the real world, it's going to chew them up and spit them out. They're not going to be ready. You cannot be ready to go into an argument with somebody when you don't even know what their argument is. You only know what yours is.
I don't think the existence of safe spaces negates that.
If it's a safe space, they're essentially keeping ideas
But you
out
can
that
go
would
to a
harm
safe
them.
space to discuss ideas and then take those same ideas and go out there and discuss them in other parts of universities where you're going to get pushback. I don't think doing one excludes you necessarily from the other.
No, but a safe space, my understanding of what a safe space was is like what we're doing now. We're having a discussion. I would say you're more left-leaning than me, and Sabi's probably more left-leaning than I am. Although I would still consider myself to be like centre-left. But we can have discussions, and the safe space would be like my bedroom or this pub. And then I could take the things that I've heard from you that I might not necessarily have thought of out into the real world. But what these students are doing is they're going into university campuses. They're having people of the opposing view come over to their campuses, like we've seen with Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. And they're acting like they're possessed, smashing windows, not allowing them into the universities, saying that you're harming me with your opinions. A university student saying that I am harmed by an opinion should be a very worrying thing for everybody, because that's where our youth go to get more nuanced ideas and challenge each other, like have debates, so they come out and they can actually affect the real world. But what they're doing now is they're living in their little containers, and then they go out into the real world and they're shocked at what the real world feeds them. It's not a safe space. I hate to break it to you guys, it's not. It's a very harmful space. You're doing yourself no favors. Talk to people that
If
you don't
that's the
necessarily...
only space you're occupying, what I'm saying is that's not necessarily true.
It's not necessarily true in what sense?
That they're just being in their safe space and then they're not going out there to engage with the rest of the university in order to find that pushback, in order to find those nuanced ideas.
Well, that would be an assumption, right? We don't
I mean,
know.
so is everything that you're saying.
I'm going based on that video. They're saying not to speak to anybody.
Yeah, but you're talking about all the universities, and it's the space as if everyone in that lecture hall is only in that lecture hall the entire time, as if they don't take those opinions and arguments they formed in that lecture hall, even if that's even what they're doing there, which we're not even sure about, and they don't take them out in order to get real debates and other opinions and pushback, nuanced ideas, all the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're saying they're only in those spaces and that's it, until they graduate and then they're out in the real world and, they get hit with reality, I guess.
Yeah, if what you're saying is true and they have their little safe spaces where their opinions are not necessarily challenged, but they try to form their own ideas together because they're all like-minded, and then they go out and debate people, or they have these right-wing activists or these right-wing students come into their spaces, then fine. I don't think that's happening. And the reason I don't think that's happening is because we've covered so many of these university campus things on this channel where they hear opposing opinions and they just melt. I'm sure that's not all university students, but I keep on seeing it. And I want them to understand that if you think that staying in the safe space is what's good for you, that is a bad idea. You need to have opinions that challenge your own. And if you really believe what you're saying, you won't crumble and you won't start flipping out like somebody that's got rabies or something. Like you will be able to remain level-headed and fight your argument because you believe what you're saying. I think the reason that these people like to stay in safe spaces is because once their worldview is challenged, they don't really have an argument for it. Otherwise, what are you protecting yourself from? You would go out there and you would shape the world the way you want it because you believe in what you're saying. But I don't think they do. I think they would like to believe it, but I don't think that they think those things actually happen or that they can invoke any real change. Because a lot of the time when we see these debates in university campuses, the students are talking a whole bunch of nothing. But I'm making assumptions. Like, I don't know. Maybe they are in a safe space and then they do go out after they've got all their ideas together and debate people. But I have not seen that. I haven't seen it yet. I keep on seeing them banging windows and telling people to get off their campuses and that your words are causing violence. Words can't cause violence. And words are not violent themselves.
Well, the things you're going to see are going to be majority conflicts because that's what sells, that's what gets views, that's what gets clicks.
Yeah.
It's just
I did see. I saw them go to over here. It doesn't happen as much. I'm talking more about America because I watched Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson go to Oxford and have a debate with people that oppose their opinions, and it was it was pleasant to watch. I didn't agree with what the vegan was saying, but she wasn't like going crazy and screaming at people and banging on windows. But I don't know what's going on in America, man. It seems like things are falling apart over there. People can't talk to each other anymore. Everyone goes crazy.
It's the media. They found out that conflict sells, so it's what they perpetrate.
Yeah, the media are to blame for most things.
Plus, there's a lot of angry people out there as well.
I think the media have made people more angry.
Yeah, purposefully.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the truth debate, or is it called Moonak or something like that? I can't remember. It's a really popular debate series, and it was about trusting the media versus people that don't trust the media. And the guy was saying on there that the media know that splitting the country down the middle is more beneficial for them. And they looked at the kinds of people that vote, and the people that watch Fox News, 85% of them vote Republican. And the people that watch CNN, I think over 85% of them voted left-leaning. And they do feed you information to upset you and to turn you against the other side. You very rarely get them saying, oh, like Biden might have made a fair point here or Trump made a fair point here. It's always, these guys are wrong and that's it. So they do radicalize their fan bases. Conflict does sell, I guess. I mean, it works on YouTube. That's why we react to a lot of these videos. So I'm not trying to hate on people for no reason. This is just what I'm seeing. I would rather we all came together and just had discussions. But when I try to have discussions with people that are very, very much in their own camps, they tend to go crazy at me.